So I hear that you're sick of dating fuckboys. I hear that you're sick of going out with men who you feel cannot meet you, who do not appreciate you, who do not have the same level of emotional maturity as you, who can't communicate with you, who disrespect you. Or maybe you're just sick of dating boring guys. You're sick of feeling unfulfilled in bed, in love, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. In this video, I'm going to teach you all about how to raise your standards and how to stop settling. And everything that I'm going to teach you is going to come from personal experience, okay? I'm not just reading off a list of items from ChatGPT. I am a woman who has been through this process, and this is what I've learned along the way. For those who don't know my story, I am now 16 months celibate, 16 months without any men, without any dating. And it has gave me so much wisdom that I want to share with you today. I have been in relationships where I've accepted the bare minimum. I have been in relationships where for my birthday, they have literally got me nothing, where I've had to go to the hospital on my own because my partner is too busy with work, where I felt so deeply unsatisfied in all areas of the relationship, but stayed in it because that's what I have taught. I am here to tell you there is a different way to do it, but you've got to take radical responsibility. There's probably going to be some things I say in this video that are going to trigger you. Good. Use that as fuel. Ask yourself why it's triggering you. Journal on it. Do what you need to do. Take it to therapy. But these are the real life things that have helped me raise my standards and stop just dating anyone who gave me a tiny crumb of affection. Okay, we're going to get into it. But if you're new here, please like, subscribe, and drop a comment if this is resonating with you or it's making you think, shit, Amy, I do this. First point, simple, but most people don't do it. Spend time alone, okay? You need to spend time alone to get clarity on what it is that you want. You cannot raise your standards if you are jumping from man to relationship to relationship. If you are constantly going on dates, if your brain is just full of thinking, how am I going to get the next man? How am I going to get the next man? You need to spend some time just focusing on yourself. You essentially need to decenter men for a little bit, which is a topic I could do a whole nother video on. Let me know in the comments if you want a video on how to decenter men, because that's a whole journey that I've been through. But you need to be spending time alone. You need to sit through that discomfort of being alone and allow all of the shit to come to the surface that needs to come up. Your intuition needs silence. It needs clarity to be able to give you the wisdom and the messages that your body has, that inner wisdom that you have that's inside you. So carve out time daily to spend time on your own and to connect with yourself. You don't have to sit and meditate. You can go out in nature. But if you're constantly numbing and you're constantly distracting yourself, you cannot get the clarity on what it is that you want. You can't see where you've been settling. If you think about every time you initially go through a breakup, you probably think things like, oh, I want to stay friends with them. Oh, I hope we can work out, all of these things. And then as time goes on and you take off the rose tinted glasses and you realize, this relationship really wasn't all that. No, I don't want to be friends with them. In fact, they're a bit of a dick. Or maybe I didn't treat them as well as I thought I could. See how you need time? See how you need to disconnect? It's the same thing here. You need to get in touch with yourself because nobody, not even me, is going to be able to tell you exactly what you want. So sit in the void for a bit. Sit with that discomfort, because on the other side, there is going to be so much empowerment for you. When I first went through a breakup about 16 months ago, like I was so scared to be alone. I was like, how am I going to cope with this? And I had to sit through this really icky period, you know, because you're so used to being with another person. I was so used to just constantly thinking about men, calling back my energy over and over again. And I had to deal with a lot of stuff. I had to face a lot of trauma. I had to face a lot of patterns. I had to face a lot of things where I realized, oh, maybe I didn't act with so much integrity there. Maybe I didn't act with so much compassion there. But then on the other side of that, that empowerment of now I know who I am, now I know what I want, and I'm going to learn from those lessons. But you have to spend time alone to do that. The second point kind of leads on to that, and that is heal your shit. Okay? Whatever you do not heal, whatever you do not face, is just going to keep coming round and round and round again. If you have a pattern of guys always ghosting you, whilst it's not your fault how they behave, the pattern shows that there is probably something within you that is attracting a certain type of guy, right? Based on your childhood experiences, based on your past, based on your attachment style. And this will continue to repeat itself over and over again until the pattern is broken. And it's not about being perfect. I don't believe you have to be fully healed. But you do need to face this shit. Look at your patterns and take responsibility for them. Okay, work with a therapist, work with a mentor, whatever modality is that resonates with you, go there. Okay, it is not your job to fix other people. It is not your job to take responsibility for other people's behavior, but you do need to take responsibility for yourself. And spending that time alone is really going to help you to see the patterns. For example, I had a pattern that I didn't realize, where during relationships, I would overextend myself like crazy while my partners were building businesses, while they were like spending all of their time and their energy building something to make money. And I would cook, I would clean, I would emotionally nurture, I would like give, and not really focus on myself. And then I would go through a breakup, they would get rich, and I would be left broke and resentful. Now, nobody made me do that. They didn't make me do that. I chose to do that because of my own attachment style, my own patterns, wanting to mother men, all of these things. And then I would be left with nothing because I didn't focus on myself. Now, I could never have gained that clarity if I didn't completely disconnect from men for a while and just really focus on myself and do the work, journal, go to therapy, do what you need to do, look at your limiting beliefs around what kind of relationship you think you can have, and change that shit. Because you might be holding on to some limiting beliefs that that's all you're worthy of, that's all that you can ever get, because it's likely that you've never had an example of healthy love. I don't know many real life examples of real, pure, healthy love where I'm like, I would love a relationship like that. So many people are walking around in shitty relationships. So many people are settling. It's so normalized because people are so terrified to spend time alone and people don't want to face their shit. If you're watching this video, I know that you're here because you are an empathic, likely spiritual, very in tune, self-aware woman. You got to face it, okay? But on the other side, freedom, liberation, empowerment. Number 3, stop romanticizing potential. Now, this one I have learned the hard way. Think about when you first meet someone. Think about in the past, the relationships that you've had, the situationships, the dates, whatever. And think about if that person really showed you who they were on the first date. Now, many things can happen. Potentially you've been love bombed, okay? And somebody has told you everything that you wanted to hear and then they've changed. That can happen. But when I look back at my past relationships, I realized that they had shown me exactly who they were on the first day, on the first time that I met them, and I just chose to ignore it. I painted those red flags pink because I was like, oh, this looks pretty. I'm just going to ignore it. But then when I've reflected after the breakups, I'm like, oh, actually, this person is exactly who they showed me were on the first date. I was just so used to romanticizing potential. You need to get clear and you need to have a look at where you've been doing that, because once you notice it, you're going to start to take people for face value. And this is where I think black and white thinking can actually really protect you in a way. I've spoken about this a lot on my TikTok and Instagram. Of course, there's nuance to everything. Of course, everything has a grey area. But I think accepting people for how they treat you on the first date is a really good way to protect yourself. So if you are dating right now, and you are seeing someone, I want you to look at this person and be like, would I want to commit to this person or whatever it is that you're looking to date for? I'm assuming that you're looking to date for a relationship. If this person carried on behaving exactly the way they are now and we're going to change and I'm not romanticizing their potential, would I want to be with them? And I guarantee your answer will be very different, because as women, we are so used to seeing the best in people. We are so used to sugarcoating. We are so used to thinking, I can save him. Ladies with a savior complex, let me know in the comments, because that's something I've really had to work on. But you have to stop romanticizing potential. You've got to get brutal. Otherwise, you're going to spend your life trying to fix and change people who are probably never going to do that. Yes, they might. But look at your track record. Take things for what they are. Let people show you who they are and accept it. It's going to be painful, but nothing is more painful than looking back in 5 months, 5 years, whatever, and thinking, yeah, no, I knew that, but I just chose to ignore it. Number 4, know what you stand for and know what your non-negotiables are. And I'm not talking about things like, oh, he has a camper van. Oh, he has a man bun. Drop a comment if you've also ever done that. That used to be my list. Wow, I got burned by that. But know what things are really, really important to you, okay? I'm not talking about aesthetics. I'm talking about values. I'm talking about the way that you live your life. I'm talking about the way that they react. I'm talking about their emotional maturity, these sorts of things. For example, if you are somebody who really, really cares about their health and you date guys who smoke and drink excessively and are still going to the club at like 3 a.m. ill, maybe they eat a lot of fast food, all of these things, like check yourself. If you want somebody who's going to provide for you emotionally, be a secure, stable, grounded man, but you're constantly dating guys who are like lacking clarity, don't really know what they want, not consistent with their communication, these are the things that you need to be really, really clear on what you want, because at the end of the day, if you do start seeing someone seriously, you need to be able to communicate that to them. Okay, that's a whole separate topic, being able to communicate and people not being mind readers. But if you don't know what you stand for and you don't know what your non-negotiables are, how the hell are you going to be able to check in with yourself and be like, is this person meeting this essentially criteria? And it doesn't mean that it can't fluctuate. I'm not saying it has to be set in stone. It's thinking about the kind of love that you want, the kind of relationship that you want. And if you're spending time alone and you're spending time connecting to yourself, then you're very clearly going to be able to check in with your body and be like, something feels off. This doesn't feel totally in alignment. I don't think our values are aligned. All of these sorts of things. But you first need to get so fucking clear on what it is that you stand for, on your values, and then stick to it. Okay, if you have, I'm not talking about like 50, I'm talking about like 3 to 5, like very, very clear values or non-negotiables. And if you date somebody and they do not meet one of those and you find yourself wanting to talk yourself out of it, check yourself, okay? I want you to be so boundaried with this. I want you to think about a friend who you know they want something and then you're out for drinks and your friend is like, oh, like I did want this, but this guy seems cute. Like, yeah, he doesn't want the same things as me. Think about how you would react, okay? I am that girl. I'm going to call you out. I'm going to say, babe, what are you doing? And I want you to do that to yourself. I want you to get so boundaried with yourself, so strict with yourself, no talking yourself out of it. I don't care if you're ovulating. I don't care if you're lonely. Okay, the more that you can repel these types of people and decline these types of people, the more it makes space for the right people to come through. And yes, maybe it means you get a little bit of less attention and maybe you get less dates because that's what happens when you raise your standards. There's less people in the pool, but the quality is higher, okay? They're more aligned. Would you not rather wait longer and have somebody who is actually the kind of guy that you want to date? Rather than, oh, I'm a bit lonely, so I'll just lower my standards a bit, okay? I really want you to think about that because you're just prolonging the process. Spending a year on your own, spending a year raising your standards, and then meeting somebody is better than spending a year dating a load of fuckboys, driving yourself crazy, getting upset, thinking it's you, all of this stuff. It's just prolonging the process. Number 5, once you're clear on your values and you're clear on your non-negotiables, make sure you're living in line with them. Make sure you are embodying the qualities of the type of person that you want to date. You can't say that you want to date somebody who really acts with integrity, who's really courageous, who's really vulnerable, who's really emotionally open, and then be none of those things and hide away and not express your feelings and not do anything brave. And this is so important. For this past 16 months, I haven't just been kicking back and being like, oh, I'm not going to work on myself. I've been like, I am going to be the best version of myself possible. Because the more that I continue to do that, the more that I'm only going to accept people who can meet me there or add to that. I used to get into relationships where I basically needed to guide and teach guys. And again, no one forced me to do that. But I would almost like train them up. Now I'm at a point in my life where I'm like, if you can't meet me, if I'm not gaining something from this, if you're not broadening my mindset, my horizons, my perspective, then this isn't worth it for me. So you have to really embody the qualities of this person that you want to date. Think about the kind of guy that you really want to call into your life. He's not going on dates with literally anybody. He's not lowering his standards. He's also doing the work. He's also making sure that he's embodying the frequency and the values and the mindset of the person that he wants to call in. So the more that you can just focus on yourself, focus on your hobbies, focus on your health, give yourself the kind of love that you want from a relationship. And yes, I know it's not the same in many aspects, but once you can start to give yourself that love, that intimacy, that respect, that nourishment, you're way less likely to settle for crumbs. And that is honestly the single most empowering thing you can do as a woman. It's fucking dangerous in today's society to be a woman who is okay to be on her own. People are terrified. People do not know what to do with women who don't need men. You're not easy to manipulate. You're not easy to control. And you're not going to settle for people who disrespect you and can't really be bothered to make an effort and can't really be bothered to treat you with the love because maybe they've never had it, but that's not your problem. But you have to take responsibility. You have to be willing to sit through that short-term discomfort. You have to be willing to say no. You have to be willing to be very boundaried with yourself and with other people. But I promise you on the other side of that, so much confidence, so much empowerment. And yeah, there might be times when you feel lonely, but is there anything lonelier than being in a shitty relationship? Not in my opinion. So those are the 5 things that have changed my life and have helped me to raise my standards and stop settling. I hope this has helped you in some way. Let me know if it has. And let me know, should I do a video on how to descend to men completely? Because I think every woman should do it for at least a period of her life. Let me know. Lots of love.